And John Moses Browning absolutely was a genius. And even John Moses Browning said that all of the shortcomings of the 1911 he fixed with the creation of the high power.
Hey guys, welcome to Whiskey, Lead, and Steel. Feelings hurt while you wait.
That's going to happen.
If you are a 1911 carrier, your feelings are probably going to get hurt today. I'm going to apologize for Rick up front. So, I'm Lee Curling. This is the one and only Rick Sutton, who will have a rant today. Today, we're going to discuss safeties on your everyday carry.
External safeties on that everyday carry. Yeah. Operator fucking approved.
Operator approved. So, Rick would ask me this question, and I'm going to go ahead and ask myself this question, so I just get it over with. Lee, what do you think about external safeties on an everyday carry? Which point I would respond with, and for those not watching this on video, I did the Delta Force Black Hawk Down finger move that accompanied by, this is my safety. Now, safeties are important on many different kinds. I am not necessarily a fan on a external safety on an EDC. I guess they're together. So, I've said what I'm going to say. Now, I'm going to wind Rick up. I'm going to sit back, drink a little bit, and just let him rant. So, Rick, what do you think about external safeties on an EDC?
That's a complex question that requires a complex answer. So, generally speaking, for a defensive carry weapon, right, which at some point in time is just about every weapon, I don't see the use, while the gun is in your possession, of an external safety. It just becomes one extra thing to do when time is of the essence, right? We throw that out there all the time. How much time do you have to get the gun out of the holster and get the first shot on target? You have the whole rest of your life. If you have to monkey with a safety, and that includes a safety that requires that you have the world's perfect grip, right? If you have a grip-based safety, any of those things in the fluid, dynamic, and less than desirable situation that becomes a defensive shooting situation, I don't think it's a great idea. Especially with like striker fire weapons. I get it. So you and I both shot 1911s as young men in the military, qualified with them. And they're a really cool gun. And they were the state of the art. And I know I've seen all the memes, how many Nazis is your fucking Glock killed? It's a Glock. Whatever. But how many this, how many that? That you're right. Absolutely. The 1911 played a huge part in the winning of World War II and Korea, and to a lesser degree, Vietnam. No doubt about it. And John Moses Browning absolutely was a genius. And even John Moses Browning said that all of the shortcomings of the 1911 he fixed with the creation of the high power, which does not have a grip safety, does have a tiny ass little thumb safety, and then it's got one of the worst fucking ideas I've ever heard of, which is the magazine disconnect safety. From an operation, from a carry this gun into battle or to defend my life with it, all of those things are ideas that I go, that's a shit idea. I'm not going to say that they're not useful. I just think that they're not a great idea. For example, for decades, and I know it shocked you when I finally quit carrying a Smith & Wesson when I had the opportunity. I still do carry Smith & Wesson from time to time, but I was an absolute fan of the Smith & Wesson 59 series, carried one as long as the police department would let me carry them. I was one of the last people to quit carrying them when we transitioned to Glocks. You're welcome, Adrian. And So the Smith & Wesson 59 series had a magazine disconnect. You took the magazine out, the gun would go bang. And then it had a slide-mounted combination decocking lever and safety. It was not spring-loaded in the early days. So if you pushed it down, it decocked the weapon, which allowed you to drop it into double-action mode without having to worry about hitting the firing pin. And then if you left it in the down position, it completely disengaged the trigger system. So you press the trigger all day long, gun won't go bang. I was never a fan of carrying the gun that way. Fortunately, my department didn't carry that way. There were agencies that said, oh, this is where we carry them. My problem with that is they said, well, you got to carry the gun on safe, like Chesapeake PD when they first went over to Berettas. They carried the M9 with it on safe. They said, well, carrying it on safe so we don't have an AD. I go, okay.
If you don't take it out of the holster,
Yeah,
and press the trigger,
you won't have an AD. But more importantly, this was training scars. Part of their training mechanism was as you drew the weapon out, you disengage the safety. So the minute you take it out of the holster where it was presumably safe because nobody could get to the trigger, now you disengage the safety. What purpose is the fucking safety serving at that stage of the game? None. It's just another mechanical mechanism. It's a thing to break. It's a thing to get in the fucking way. It's something for you to forget to do or for you not to do fully. And now you're standing there frustrated. When we did our first Aloha Snack Bar stage, I had a billion guys, most of them Glock shooters. Not that I'm throwing rocks at Glock shooters, but let's throw rocks at Glock shooters, who would pick up the Beretta M9 and pull the trigger and nothing would happen. And they would tap and rack and nothing would happen, tap and rack, nothing. And then they would finally look at the gun and realize, oh, it's on safe. Then they take it off safe and the gun would run.
And I'm gonna say there were also military guys that did the same thing.
Yes.
Right. We're talking. This is a Beretta.
Yeah.
Right?
Beretta M9.
Beretta. Right. And let's face it.
And that was the issue pistol when we started that process.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean,
back then, yeah.
At that time when we did that,
Yeah, everybody in the military was qualified.
That was before they even made the decision to move. But I think looking at every gun's a little bit different. Right? But when you look at the M9, you have a series of safeties.
Yes.
On the M9 that here you put on safe and you physically rotated. There's a physical rotation from the firing pin.
Yeah.
The firing pin. That's one safety. But even if it's on fire, if the trigger wasn't pulled, there's another disconnect that prevented the firing pin from engaging forward.
Yep.
Right. So even if you hit it with a hammer, it's still not going to fire.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not necessarily with a 1911.
No.
Right.
No.
Yeah. Right. Which is the reason why
we gotta have a thumb safety, and we gotta have a grip safety, and then we've also got to have the Series 80 model that has a spring-loaded trigger system and a disconnect, so that we don't have ADs.
Right.
And then nobody wanted that gun, so everybody has gone back to the Series 70 model.
Correct.
Thumb safeties, all this crazy shit. So now that said, what I do like about external safeties is not when you're carrying the gun, but if you have set the gun down for some reason and it is no longer in your direct realm of control, right? So, and I know that there are going to be some people who are probably going to pee themselves over this, but I don't give a shit. So for the entirety of my life that I've been carrying a gun, which has been since 1989, typically when I get home and I'm going to be puttering around the house, and I'm almost in condition white and that fuzzy yellow, right? I take my gun out and I set my gun with my wallet and my keys so that if I have to leave the house, it's all right there together. And then the other night it goes where it goes. When I was carrying Smith, the gun came out, I put it on safe, and I set it on the counter. Now, if somebody who didn't know anything walked by and picked it up to create a neatness because there was something there and something happened, the safeties engage. I get that. For a long time, my bedstand gun, my nightstand gun, was a 5906. And it had the light on it, of course, because it's a nighttime gun. But it had the magazine not out, but I flipped the gun over, hit the magazine release. The magazine came out just enough that the safety was disengaged, and then I put it on safe. I got a hot round in the chamber. So I know in the middle of the night, if I wake up groggy and foggy, before I can do anything, I'm going to have to go to the trouble of seating that magazine and disengaging the safety before I can go do anything else. So that I get, that I understand, and that kind of makes sense to me. I'm okay with that. But
So you set a series of conditions that you always set.
Yep.
And that it is very, very different to change the condition of a gun at a specific time.
Yes.
Rather than I'm trying to figure out how to.
I need it right now.
You need this right now. Yes.
Yeah. It's not an emergent situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The nightstand gun is not an emergent situation. I have to pull my gun from wherever I'm carrying it with my concealed weapons permit and engage this bad guy who's at halitosis distance right here, right now.
As much as anybody thinks or would want to argue the nighttime gun is an emergent situation, the reality is physiologically, you hear a bump in the night, your reaction time is so hindered from your brain having your entire muscular system disconnected, right? So you can dream and you can run and do all those things without, actually physically doing those things. Your brain's got to re-engage your entire system in order to get up, start moving, and then you got to wake up to a point to even understand.
And the other thing, and as we rabbit hole that, right? Because people talk about that.
It's years over. So
brief rabbit hole on that one. You never wake up in the middle of the night because the thing went bump and you woke up.
Right.
Here's what happened. The thing went bump and you heard it and your brain went,
I think
that's an odd bump. We're not used to that. Hey, wake up.
Yeah.
By that time, the bump is done. Right. And now you're waking up and processing all of this because, we've all been there where, your wife comes home and was walking around in the bedroom and opening and closing drawers. And your brain went, yeah, she's getting up to make breakfast or whatever. She's going to work. I don't need to wake up for that. And you don't even realize it happened. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. That's a whole different, that's an entirely different setup than right here, right now. The clock is running on the rest of my life, and I need to get my gun out, which means that for ED, then that's EDC. So, do I want to have something that, and how many times have you gone to the range and the buzzer's gone off, and you came out with a less than perfect grip? Right. And for those of you who carry guns, and there are several of them out there that have grip-mounted safeties, that if you don't hold the gun perfectly and tightly, the gun doesn't go bang. That becomes a problem because just like segueing, just like carrying your gun in the appendix carry, right? Somebody's pointing a gun at you and threatening you. The only reason anybody would ever make the motion to pull their shirt up in the front of their body is to get their appendix carry gun out. Which means you've just told them, I'm pulling my gun on you. Right? If you pull your gun out and it won't go bang because you don't have your grip safety depressed, now the clock is running, you've lost the element of surprise. If you pull your gun and you don't fully disengage your external safety, or, and I've ran into this problem, which is a shame. It's one of the few downsides that I found on the USP, which I absolutely love, is because of the size of my hands and the way I shoot my hands, I had to really work hard at not resting my thumb on the safety, because it's designed like a 1911 for you to rest your thumb on it. The downside to that is If you put any pressure on that, it acts as a safety, right? So you got to really be conscious of that. But anyway, so if you don't engage that safety, then you're going to run into problems. And then people talk about, well, so the trigger safeties, like on the Smiths and like on the Glocks. Here's my problem with that. Spent a long time as a police officer teaching people how to shoot. We carried Glocks. It's not commonplace, but it happens enough that none of us are ever surprised that under stress, a shooter doesn't get enough finger on the trigger to engage the trigger safety on a Glock. It's not an indictment of Glock. It's just something the shooter recognizes it as a stringer. That is not something that I have with my SIGs. And I resisted the whole striker fired thing forever and a day. But if you're carrying a striker fired, why do you have all these other safeties?
Well, and the M&Ps that have that split, right? That split trigger safety.
Yeah.
And I understand the concept of that trigger safety. Yeah. It prevents it from being inadvertently pulled. But I'm gonna argue that if you're gonna get something caught up in a safety, in the trigger guard, it's gonna get caught up to the point that it's gonna depress that safety, especially on the Glock.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you have to catch the outer third of the trigger with something to not engage that safety, and the same with the Smith on the M&P, that split. If you're gonna catch it and it runs down towards the bottom, it's going to engage. Yeah. Right. It's gonna engage the trigger safety, and it's gonna allow the gun to go off. So yeah, I agree. I think it was a solution. It was a solution to a non-problem. Yeah, I mean, it was, and that is a problem. Actually, let me walk that one back. That was a poor solution to a problem, right? I mean, that is a legitimate problem to get something potentially caught up in a safety. You need to pay attention to that, right? I mean,
But when I first became a law enforcement officer in 1989, I carried a revolver. You know how many safeties there are on our Colt Python? Just this one.
Right. If you don't pull the trigger, gun doesn't go bang. Yeah. The trigger safety was the okay. There's no other external safety, so we're gonna put this. I think it was
some bureaucrat needs a safety on that gun.
There you get right. So
it's like a New York trigger. Thank you, Dana Dinkins. Gotta have 17 pound trigger. To make sure that you really, really, really want to shoot somebody. And to hit your city police officer. Yeah, to accidentally shoot people. I don't think that was a fucking problem. But again, so we run into the problem of
sympathetic reflex.
But we run into the problem of people making decisions who are not end state users of the equipment, right? And that's where so many of these things come from, I think. Well, I don't carry this and I'm not familiar with this, but it doesn't seem inherently safe. So we got to have a safety.
Why would you not want a safety?
Yeah.
Right. That's the right.
Yeah. What?
Well, it's a safety. We should safeties sound good, so we should have safeties.
Yeah.
Right. There's no reason why you wouldn't want to be. If you don't have a safety, then it's unsafe.
But that's the same kind of circular logic bullshit that led to the 10-round magazines.
Yeah.
Well, so thank you again, David Dinkins, you jackass. When New York City Police Department finally transitioned to semi-automatic handguns during the Clinton regime.
Yes.
Right? David Dinkins said, I don't want them carrying more than 10 rounds because I don't want them to just be able to shoot 15 rounds without having to stop to think about it. So they should only be able to shoot 10 rounds. And then the Clinton Justice Department said, well, if a New York City police officer only needs a 10-round magazine, why does John Q. Citizen need any more than a 10-round magazine? It's not about need, son. This is America. How many rounds does your gun hold? As many as I could jam in there. Fucking hella, as the old say. What's your magazine capacity? Hella. Goddamn right. But I don't want another one. Yeah. You know what I don't want is a binary fucking trigger. Yeah.
You know what?
I get extra one to my binary trigger.
That's a whole other rabbit hole. We could talk. We could do a whole other thing on bump stocks and binary triggers and stupid gear that
Hand from your cousin.
shouldn't be illegal, but should have never been made.
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna go down that road. I'm gonna. But we'll.
If you got a bump stock, you're probably making out of your cousin.
All right. You know
Same
what?
thing.
You know what? I think that's what I'm talking about anyway.
That a big.
I knew it was gonna happen. I knew it was gonna happen.
I said in the beginning of it, I will wind this fucker up. Watch this.
I thought
It's gonna be good shit.
long ago.
Yeah.
All right. So
Thermal safeties.
external safeties.
So
So if you're a 1911,
yeah, if you're currently caressing your Kimber or your staccato and crying, and talking about an evil asshole I am that I would not worship at the altar of the 1911, I'll say this. I have a Colt Series 70 Mark IV. It's a great fucking gun, and I like shooting it. That said, when I go out into the town, carry my gun for concealed safety purposes, I carry either one of my not much six, but I either
one off 2 SIGs.
one of three, because I have 226, because I'm an old school guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, if I'm going to wear my high top Reeboks, I got to carry my 226 because it's reminiscent of the 90s, right? But if I'm wearing Crocs, I don't even have Crocs. Stupidest shit ever. But anyway, so I carry one of those, or I carry an M&P. Yeah, so I don't carry anything that has an external safety because I'm old and I don't have the time to monkey with that safety. If what I have to do is go to work and then worry about other things at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's not to say that they're bad guns, but we've evolved. I mean, realistically, the 1911 is a great gun. It's 111 years old.
Right.
Right? So you don't want to... I don't know anybody who wants to drive a Model T.
Might be 112.
As a patrol. Oh, yeah. Shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Completely forgot about that.
Yes.
Yeah. Man.
But the reality is that when was the end of 1911?
So probably over that because that's when it got patented.
Yeah.
Came out of that.
But the reality is, right? We've evolved, right? I mean, just good enough for my grandpappy, good enough for me.
Speaking of which, so segue to that, reference to that. So I'm reading Mr. Sledge's book about 5th Marines, 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines at Peleliu and then later at Okinawa. Mm-hmm. And he said something, for those of you who are modern military guys, understand this. He's talking about the ammo carriers coming by and giving them units of ammo to resupply them for ammo. Mm-hmm. Now, he was a mortarman, so he's carrying an M1 carbine in a 1911. The unit of ammo, the daily issue of ammo for a Marine on Peleliu, which was fucking terrible, is 2 units. A unit of 1911 ammo was 14 rounds, and a unit of 30 carbine ammo was 60 rounds. So he got 120 rounds of carbine ammo, and no, I take it back. It's half that. So he carried 60. So it's 30. It's 30 and 30. 2 magazines worth. So he's carrying 60 30 carbine and 14 45 ACP to fight off the fucking Japanese army in the island hopping campaign. For those of you who don't understand the fucking metal on that one and the numbers on that, when I retired as a Virginia Beach police officer, I carried 52 rounds of 9mm on my belt and 30 rounds of 5.56 on my belt and another 30 rounds of it in the gun in the locker box on the truck. And that's in Virginia Beach. It was a fairly sedate place. The average loadout, I think, for United States Marine these days, infantrymen, is 240 rounds of 5.56 and 45 rounds of 9mm. That's the standard. And then they fucking lug out anymore. And as an MP, you guys had similar amounts.
Yeah, so I mean, so the standard, right, by the book, right, is 7 magazines.
Yeah, 7 mags.
Right.
220 rounds.
Well,
or 210 rounds. 7 times 30.
Yeah. But we always then carried double that.
Yep.
Right. Or not double that, but yeah, but
I said it 150% probably.
Well, instead of 7, 7 was 1 in the gun, 6 mag, right? So, like when I was in Iraq, right, we were still, we still had the weird vestige of things, but we ended up with carrying 12 mags, 1 in the gun.
Yep.
Right. So it was not almost double, but it was basically on double. And that was pretty much the standard.
Yeah.
Right. But and then the standard for the 9mm was 45 rounds. Right. Yeah. So it was 3
mags.
3 mags. I carried more.
Yeah. You carried a shotgun.
And because I ended up carrying a shotgun. Yeah.
But I was shocked to read here. I was like,
more 9mm.
14 rounds? Are you shitting me?
Yeah.
I carried more of that in my gun.
Yeah. You get 2 magazines.
2 magazines go butt off the jack.
2 magazines of 45.
That's the 14 chaps.
Well,
oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, crazy shit.
Yep.
That's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty good segue. Yeah. So, I don't know why you're not carrying a SIG 320.
Yeah. So if you're still carrying a 1911.
If you're carrying a 1911, you just carry a single action army.
Right.
1873.
I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings. Right. Someone's going to get hurt. But if you're carrying 1911, are they open carrying in an open white holster?
Oh, with the strap across the back that you got snapped down on the bottom.
I'm just wondering. I'm just saying.
Or is it compensated? Has a rail. Fucking funnel on the bottom of it. Great big magazine that sticks out of the bottom. And are they carrying a tourniquet and 4 spare magazines? Or they were in their hat backwards?
Yeah, so, I mean... to recap quickly...
And wearing Uggs.
To recap quickly, I mean, we get back to the
let's be serious about this. Not serious.
Yeah, this is serious stuff here. This is serious stuff because I wound you up and you went all over the place. But the external safety on your EDC, because that's really what it's about. It's about your EDC.
Yeah.
Look, gun is in a holster with a trigger guard around the gun. You're in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Right. That really is the key. And once you draw, especially when we talk about EDC, we were talking about almost exclusively, not completely, but almost exclusively a defensive shooter. And if you are a defensive shooter carrying an EDC, carrying for self-defense, when you have drawn that gun, you have crossed the boundary of saying,
I'm going to shoot.
I got to shoot this guy.
And we're probably less than 3 yards away.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a halitosis.
But, and we've said this before, you're not going to draw that gun to scare somebody off.
Nope.
Right? If you draw that gun to scare somebody off, you're the
subject of a whole nother podcast.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Welcome to the world of I was arrested for brandishing my weapon.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right.
Not
Not-
a pin cushion.
right? So, I mean, it's so what's the point of a safety? What is the chance of a accidental, an AD or ND, accidental or negligent discharge? If you're drawing in a defensive situation, it's very, very low because you've already made the decision. I gotta shoot this guy.
Yeah. That's and at that one time, a whole other podcast. But I akin a external safety on an everyday carry to, well, I'm going to carry my gun chamber empty for ADC because I don't want to have an AD. And I've had those clients.
And now you got a whole bunch of other people that are man clipping away.
As well, they should be. And there's no soft way to say that. If you're carrying a defensive gun with an empty chamber, either come get some training or move to England and don't carry a gun.
If
Move to California
if
because they need more whack jobs.
if you're scared of having
An AD that bad.
well, yeah, but if you're scared of having a round in the chamber,
Then you should have
you
a gun.
probably should not be carrying a gun.
Nope.
I don't know that you're willing to make the decision to use it if you're that scared of it.
No.
So, anything else?
No, I'm good. I was cathartic. It was fun.
All right, so another longish one. So, hey,
And we usually talk shit on canics.
yeah,
We didn't talk shit on canics this time.
that's right. Awesome.
That's right.
So, appreciate you watching. Tune in again, and
Have a good one. Be safe.
all right. Peace out. Another thing on bump stocks and binary triggers and stupid gear that
Hand downs from your cuff.
shouldn't be illegal, but should have never been made.